Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw for Insider Travel Report, and I'm here today with Robin Lothar, who's the Vice President, Expedia TAP. Now, what's Expedia TAP? I think a lot of you know already. We're going to talk about that. We're going to find out about that, and also the fact that Expedia TAP has been doing a lot these days to help you as travel advisors with some great products and really get you going on booking hotels and activities and all kinds of things. And we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more on Insider Travel Report. Robin, first of all, great to see you. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. And thank you for having me, James. Good to speak to you and all of the advisors that are part of this community.
Okay, well, great. There are indeed a lot of advisors that are part of Expedia TAP. And just to remind us all that what TAP stands for.
Okay, yeah, let's start from the very beginning. So TAP is our Expedia Travel Agent Affiliate Program.
There you go.
And in a nutshell, it's a platform that we built specifically for travel advisors. On that platform, they can access everything that they can find on Expedia.com, but we've tailored it specifically to advisors. And most importantly, we pay them commission for everything that they book with us.
And that's really important, actually. That's which is amazing. And you can go there now. When did TAP start?
Depends on the country, but roughly around 15 years or so, 15 years or so ago. We're celebrating a number of anniversaries over the course of this year. But I'd say it's kind of gone in some waves since then. And I think it's really in the last 5 years or so ago, dare I say the word COVID. And since that time, that we've really started to invest a lot more behind the business and really seeing some tremendously strong growth coming off the back of that terrible period for us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, I briefly described the products, but the products are obviously you have your hotel inventory, and what else do you have that?
Yeah, we've got almost everything in there. So we've got hotels, we've got packages where you can combine a flight and hotel or flight and hotel and car together. We have got ground transfers, we have got activities, and we have also got flights.
Oh, so you got flights as well, so you can book air.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can book air.
Okay.
And many of our advisors in the US do use us to book some of their air content.
And they get commission on that.
On air, typically not. We pay commission on all of our other lines of business. Air is generally the exception to that, unfortunately.
Got it. And what kind of commission are we talking about for the other things, hotels, et cetera?
Yeah, so hotels is our core line of business, and it's really what we're known for. With hotels, we're a little bit different to some of the other platforms out there, and we have four different commission levels. We group hotels into either basic, basic plus, premium, or premium plus. Mm-hmm. And depending on which category it falls into, we pay between 4% on the lower end to 13% on the upper end. Mm-hmm. A key thing to call out on that is we pay commission on the total gross booking value. So if you check out for $1,000, we pay commission on that final $1,000. While I know there are many other tools out there which may pay commission net of taxes and fees or other things, we want to make it super simple and we pay on the total gross amount.
Well, that's very good. Now, how many travel advisors have signed up for Expedia TAP? How many do you have roughly?
A lot. So if we look at it on a global basis, we've got about 40,000 travel agencies, and we now have around 160,000 travel agents actually using the platform. And I mentioned a little bit earlier, we've seen this go in waves, and really in the last couple of years, and I think particularly given the audience for your show, in North America, we've really seen incredibly strong growth in the number of advisors using the platform over the last 3 or 4 years. It's incredibly encouraging to see how buoyant and active the market is right now for advisors in North America.
And how do you qualify for the program? Can you just sign up, or how do you tell what do advisors have to do?
We accept anybody to join the platform that is associated and accredited to a travel agency. So if, for example, you were based in the US, you currently own and operate a travel agency, you can sign up to TAP. Once you've signed up, you can then onboard all of your advisors that are associated with that agency. And I think particularly in North America, where the market for host travel agencies has grown so much,
Right.
This is where we've seen a lot of that growth come from, and where we've got agreements with many of the major host agencies across the country.
Okay.
They sign up, and we then work with them to onboard all of their current advisors and any new advisors that are coming into their business.
So you do work with hosts and consortia as well, right?
Hosts, consortia, TMCs, anybody out there that is in the advisor business, we're very happy to work with.
Fantastic. I have seen your booth at various trade shows, so I know that.
Yeah, and I think it's been honestly, it's been encouraging over the last couple of years. With a big team on the ground in the US and Canada, and I think even if I look at the last couple of weeks of people being out on the road at trade shows and conferences, the number of people coming up to us and saying, "Oh, I've spoken to so and so on the phone. It's great to actually see you in person, and it's great to actually see the kind of recognition and community that's also being built across the advisor space in the US right now."
Okay, now one big question is, are travel advisors worried that somehow if they book their clients through Expedia Tap, that somehow all that data is going to get merged into Expedia proper? Online. You're a
That's
giant. You're a giant
that,
out there.
that's
Right.
that's a question I'm happy you're asking me on video, because I want to be crystal clear on this.
Okay.
We have total and complete separation of our consumer business, so Expedia.com, from our travel agency business and anything else that is B2B within Expedia. If we work with you as a travel agency partner, your customers are your own customers.
Got it.
We will never market to those customers on our behalf. That data is completely isolated to you. And it's something we've been incredibly strict about ever since our B2B business was created.
Right.
They're your customers, you own them. We will never, ever interfere.
That's a great answer, and it's really what I think a lot of advisors are concerned about. But obviously, a lot of them are signing up with you, and this is interesting to me because I happen to be one of the person who first did a cover story back in the '90s on Expedia proper. So way back when, the founder of Expedia. So I knew about them all, and I knew all the strategies way back when. You've evolved somewhat since then. Um,
Yes, we've definitely evolved somewhat since then. And I think probably in the past there were probably some more questions about that,
right.
the nature of the setup. I think over the last few years, hopefully we have demonstrated really the level of commitment that we have in this space, both in the broader B2B space for Expedia as a whole, but particularly in the space for advisors. We've put a lot of investment behind this program in the last few years.
Right.
We've released a lot of features and functionality already, but there's also a lot more that we expect to come in the future. I think in turn, we've seen the level of interest in the platform grow, but also been very encouraged to see the level of feedback and trust that advisors now place in us. And if I look across the US right now, I feel very positive about where we are and what we've built, but also about the value add that we're actually bringing to advisors that trust us and use us on a daily basis now.
And that's the key. And now, originally, this whole interview began. You had issued a survey from Expedia Tap, talking about how travel advisors remain a major channel for distribution. And tell us a little about the results of that survey, because on its face, to have Expedia come out, and it's your Expedia Tap, not Expedia, with
Yeah.
a major survey supporting the fact that travel advisors are a strong distribution system and network for consumers.
Yeah, and I think we've kind of learned as the years have evolved around, if you look at the travel landscape out there, there are a huge number of different channels which customers will use to book their channel. Maybe they'll want to go online and book directly with one of the OTAs like Expedia. Maybe they will want to book with a travel advisor. Maybe they'll want to book with their bank's loyalty program. There's so many different customers out there with so many different customer needs. And I think as we've illustrated with that survey and other findings in the past, there is a very clear segment of the market that wants to work with a travel advisor,
right,
that perhaps finds travel complicated or just doesn't want the hassle or stress of it. And actually, they really clearly see the value that travel advisors can bring.
Sure.
And I think one of perhaps the most important lessons for me on this was coming out of COVID, whenever we were at a time when everybody was seemingly migrating to everything online. All of a sudden, all conversations were happening on Zoom. Everybody was doing all of their shopping online. I think it was a natural question raised at that point of, okay, we've got people that are involved in a more traditional segment, selling something offline, often face to face. How does that look in future? And I think really, if we've learned anything coming out of COVID, is the immense strength that this segment actually has. We saw how quickly it rebounded, but it rebounded and then has really kept growing. And I think whenever we look across it and we look at the results of the survey, there's, I think, some very specific things to this segment that put travel advisors in a somewhat unique position and also gives me a lot of confidence for them in the longer term.
Mm-hmm.
And I think really, if I look at the results of that survey, there's kind of a couple of things that stand out. Of one, people want to work with travel advisors because of time saving and expertise.
Right.
Travel is still complicated. It's difficult to plan. Things will go wrong whenever people do actually travel. They want a trusted person that they can pick up the phone to and know that they will sort out their problems. And kind of secondly, and closely linked to that, is someone who can make this whole thing as stress-free as possible.
Sure.
As I said, there are things that go wrong. There are challenges that happen, unfortunately, all the time within travel. And for many people out there, they want their holiday to be something that they're not stressing about, not worrying about, may not enjoy the planning experience at all. Mm-hmm. There's somebody else out there that can do all of that for them. And I also think a lot of the times bring them extra value on their trip, both with ideas, but also realistically about pricing as well. There's great deals that travel advisors have access to.
Sure.
And I think customers increasingly recognize that of, yes, I can get all this great service, but I can also get it at a great price point as well. So why not work with a travel advisor? It's almost a no-brainer.
Well, I tell you, the first time in my career in the last few years where advisors have been in demand in terms as a profession. People are looking for travel advisors, and travel agencies are looking for travel advisors as well. So it is suddenly a growing profession, and that was not always the case back in the 90s or 2000s, that's for sure.
No, and it's a story we've also heard worldwide of many travel agency managers have been in the fortunate position of saying, we actually have too much work right now,
Yeah.
Which is great for them because sometimes they've been able to perhaps close down their high street presence because they didn't need those premises anymore. There's so much work coming in, but also to be in a position where they can actually choose who they want to work with. Because obviously you're making trade-offs. It's a complex decision. Do you support a new customer or your existing customer? So many travel advisors find themselves in a very fortunate position right now of a very, very solid book of loyal customers that will come back to them year after year and is a great spot for many of them to be in.
That's it. That's a great story, actually. So now Expedia Tap periodically has sales of hotels that advisors can access. What's your strategy? You do this during a certain period.
Yeah.
How many times a year do you do this, and what are the occasions?
Yeah, there's a few kind of core sale events that we have, and we typically tie them to, let's call it peak booking periods that we know are coming up. So, for example, we'll have a spring sale, we'll have a summer sale, we have a Black Friday sale because we know that there are kind of certain times of the year whenever it really is kind of peak season for booking holidays. Mm-hmm. Core rationale for doing this, I mean, perhaps beyond the obvious of everybody likes a deal, we recognize that customers and agents want to find good value for money. Mm-hmm. Again, back to the survey we talked a little bit about a second ago. Many customers are going to agencies because they believe they can find good value for money and or better deals that those customers might be able to find themselves. And we want to support advisors as much as we can in doing that. We want to put them in a position where they can go out to their client base, they can promote a specific destination or a time of travel, and that they can promote some unique deals where the customer, if indeed they went online and looked for comparable prices elsewhere, would realize that the advisors being able to offer them something additional or something extra that they might not have been able to find on their own. So for us, it's really supporting advisors in those peak periods of time and putting those advisors in a position to go out to their customers with really competitive and compelling offers.
Well, and I know they're always looking for that. Now, in that line, beyond sales, you also periodically and really make improvements and augment the Expedia Tap program, and I think you recently did that. Can you tell us about some of the things that you are offering now that you didn't before?
Yeah, and I think as I mentioned at the start, over the last couple of years, we've really made some pretty big investments in the platform. and we recognize the importance of this segment, and we want to keep it growing as well. And also over time, we've had no shortage, and thank you to all of those that have provided it, feedback from advisors on things that they want to see in the platform to help them.
Right.
And over the last couple of years, we've added lots of things. I think particularly notable in the last 12 months in North America and Canada, and more recently across the rest of the world, we added our service charge functionality.
Okay.
This enables advisors to add an additional service charge on top of their booking.
Right.
Because while we pay commissions to advisors for all the bookings that they make, often advisors are in the fortunate position that perhaps they have a customer that's not so price sensitive. And instead of earning maybe 12% commission on a hotel, they think they're in a position to add an additional charge on top and perhaps earn 20% on that sale, or perhaps just have some additional certainty in return for all of the time investment that they're putting into the business. This was functionality that had been asked for by advisors for a long time. It was great to be able to roll it out over the last year, and been great to see the feedback coming in from advisors since then. Additional things that we're doing or have done over the last couple of years are a lot of payment related work. We've launched functionality to some agencies where they want it, called deferred payments. This lets advisors make a booking today, but pay for the booking much closer to the time of travel.
Got it.
Has been very helpful for advisors, particularly dealing with customers who are not entirely sure of their plans, or indeed customers that don't want to commit to paying for their entire trip a year before travel, but perhaps want to confirm closer to the time of travel. And in certain markets, we've been launching other functionality related to bank transfers and just giving advisors different methods to pay for their trips.
Got it.
Basically trying to be as accommodating to all of the different use cases as possible. Then over the course of the rest of this year, I'll not share too much for now, but we've got a range of other functionality that's launching on the platform, principally to try and make it as streamlined and as easy to use as possible, and to be as time efficient as possible. And so we've got some functionality coming out between now and the end of the year, which hopefully many advisors will be listening to this and be very excited once we do go live in the coming months.
Well, we're looking forward to reporting on that and letting everybody know what you're doing this year. Now, sort of basic question, finally, why should travel advisors sign up for Expedia TAP? What are the advantages?
A good question as we come to the end, and maybe one I should have started with at the beginning.
Right.
I'll be honest, there's lots of different providers out there that offer ways for advisors to book hotels, activities, and other lines of business. For me, as I think about TAP, there's always three core things that stand out. The first is the breadth of product that we have available on TAP. I think we are unparalleled in the selection of hotels that we have, the rate types that we have, the competitive prices that we have, and the commissions that we have. But I think perhaps most importantly of all in that, almost every single thing that we sell is supply that we have directly contracted with the hotels ourselves. And this is a huge difference versus any of our competitors out there, which are often aggregating different sources of supply from multiple different providers. We contract almost everything that we sell ourselves. And so we have that direct relationship with the hotels. And this puts us in an incredible position. If and when something does go wrong, we can sort that incredibly quickly and not have to work through another middleman to get to the kind of original source of that booking. So I think that's that first piece around the supply that we have. Second is the platform that we have ourselves. It's incredibly easy to use. The consistent feedback we get is, goodness, this is a very simple platform. And sometimes I'm asked about what training we offer, and we offer lots of training, but my first answer is always, the platform is so simple to use, you shouldn't actually need much training to use it. Right. We can get somebody new to the industry up and running in minutes or hours, depending on the person. It really is very straightforward. And then finally is the support that we offer. We offer 24/7 support, 365 days of the year. We've also got our BD team and account management team that is on the ground meeting with agencies on a daily basis. And we consistently get very good feedback on that support. There's multiple channels they can get to us through. They can pick up the phone. They can use our live agent chat on the website. It's not just a bot, but there's also real humans there to provide support, and increasingly see that adopted more and more by advisors. It's just a very efficient form of communication. And I think on that support, I just looked up one stat before this call. If you called us in April, On average, it took us 6 seconds to answer your call and get through to a human. So as and when things do go wrong, and it is travel, we know that things will go wrong, you can get through to someone incredibly quickly to solve those problems.
That's great, and all sound like great. If you're going to use Expedia Tap, seems like a very easy way to book all these different products with great rates. Anything else you want to tell our 125,000 travel advisors about Expedia Tap?
I think we've talked lots about the reasons as to why I think it's good. I think perhaps just to end on, we celebrated Global Travel Advisor Day now a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
Lots of teams were out on the ground to celebrate that with our many advisors across the country. Honestly, I would at this stage probably just say a huge thank you. It's been great to see the growth we've had over the last couple of years, but it's been great to see the level of positivity and feedback that we've had on the platform, on the enhancements that we've made to the platform. That's a direct result of all the feedback that we've received from the huge advisor community that is out there. And really just a huge thank you for your support up until now, and to hopefully say a thank you for your continued support heading onwards from here. It's been really great to see what we've been able to build together across the world, and particularly for this community across the US and Canada.
And the final question, and where can travel advisors go to find out more about Expedia Tap, the website, things like that?
It's good to end on the easiest one. For anybody that is not working with us today, you can find us at Expedia Tap, that's TAAP.com. And for anybody else that is using us already, hopefully you know where to reach out to.
Well, Robin, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us about Expedia Tap. We've been getting lots of releases, the survey, your new improvements, your various hotel sales. We've been actually posting them up there and telling our readers all about them, so that I know they're of interest. And we wanted to sit down with you finally. And I know both of our travel schedules have been a little crazy lately, but I'm glad we finally got it together to have this great interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you, James. Anytime.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.